Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Faith, and if you're new to this channel, you're most definitely welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber and you've watched my videos in the past, thank you for coming back. Guys, I know it's been a while. See, life happens. It's just a long story, right? Please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. We're growing slowly but surely, and I know it's because I'm not being consistent enough. But please stick with me. If you are, thinking about Pcsing to Germany, or you're trying to reenlist for Germany, see, let me tell you, this video is going to be like all facts, right? Straight to the point. Like, I'm going to give you the raw facts, right? Your opinion of Germany might be different, right? But this is my truth, and I wanted you guys to know, at least reconsider this, these reasons, the pros and cons, before you commit to 3 years of coming to Germany. So yeah, enough of my rambling. Let me just go straight to the video. Okay, see, I'm going to start with the pros, right? So Germany has a rich history. Most times not the best history, but there is history. So coming to Germany, you get to learn all of that history. They have a lot of castles that they have beautifully maintained. They have like the Rothenburg, yeah, I think that's it, the Rothenburg castle. There's all of the castles that you can see, just beautiful, historic, dating back hundreds of years back. So you're standing in these castles and you're like, bro, mad shit used to happen here. And you're standing at some memorial sites that you like, horrific things have happened. You're just surrounded by history. So if you're like a history buff, or you really enjoy like past things that have happened, Germany is definitely a place to come for that experience. Secondly, you get to travel. So you can travel like within Europe. As a service member in the army, you are, you're legal to be in Germany and be in Europe, so you can travel. I know a lot of people go to Prague, the Netherlands, Paris, Italy, where else? Just places around Germany. And you can drive to Prague, you can drive to some of the places. If you like driving, you can drive, right? So you have the experience of traveling, right? So if traveling is your thing, you can definitely go. I know like a couple of weeks ago, I was checking for a flight to the United Kingdom, and it was about €40 to and fro. So it's pretty cheap to travel. You have 4 days where you can travel and stuff like that. So yeah, you can do that. And I mean, if that's, your thing, definitely do that. The third thing, right, this is personal for me, because I have to drive about 40 minutes to work every day, to and from. 40 minutes to work and 40 minutes back, right? So sometimes, and I'm a weirdo, right? So sometimes when I'm driving, I'm like, I can't believe I'm on another continent. There's that factor that comes in once in a while. Like, I'm in Europe. I live in Europe. For the next 3 years, I'm going to be living in Europe. I've lived in Africa because I grew up in Nigeria. I've lived in North America because, the United States. And now I'm in Europe. It's a good feeling. When people ask you, where do you live? I'm in Germany. I'm working in Germany. That's just, I feel like that's like a bucket list thing, like you've lived on another continent. I don't know if that's a good enough reason to PCS to Germany, but it is something that I personally think about. Then another thing that I thought was important to consider is, for example, I'm an air traffic controller 15 Quebec, and being in Germany, most people end up in towers or the GCA, which is kind of hard to get back in the States. Most times, if you're back in the States and you're stationed at Rocker, you can be lucky, or some of the other duty stations. But in Germany, most times people end up in the tower or in GCA. You're not really tactical, so you have the opportunity to get your ratings, which is kind of the bread and butter of being an air traffic controller in the first place. So that is what I think is a pro. Then with my husband, for example, he's a fueler, and back when we were stationed at Fort Sill, all he fueled was like the trucks, just the vehicles. But now he gets to like widen his knowledge and expertise by fueling aircrafts, which is like a bigger part, like a more delicate part of his MOS. So that's just something I thought, maybe I don't know about every MOS, but for those two MOSs, I know that we do have like a, better opportunity of actually doing a bigger part of our jobs, right? So that's all the pros I have. I just listed 4, and it's a little compared to the cons, but that's everything that I could think about. That's everything everybody else could like mention. So we're going to go to the cons now. So the reasons why I think you should not come to Germany. First of all, you're miles and miles, you're a continent away from your family and your friends. You come to Germany and it's just you and your battle buddies and the army. Your friends are away, your friends are back in the States, your family is back in the States. The time difference is a lot. So when we're like in the morning, they're like sleeping, or when in the afternoon, they're just waking up. So I know a couple of people that are awake like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. talking to your family back in the States, because that's the only time, that you can really talk to them, and the times are like clashing, because if it's in the afternoon in Germany, you're probably at work and you can't talk to your family members. So that's one thing. And it can tend to be a little bit lonely, especially like during holidays, your birthdays, somebody gave birth. If you have to think about the flight ticket back to America, it's a lot. It can get very expensive. So most of the times you're celebrating your birthdays by yourself, Thanksgiving, during block leave, people go back to the States and stuff. But those little holidays like 4th of July and stuff like that people would normally spend with their families, they are here stuck. So think about that if you're a single soldier. If you are married, you have the opportunity of bringing your family with you. So you might not feel a little bit, but you still have your extended family that is away from you. Second, and to me, is probably the biggest con ever, is the language barrier. Like, I can't even complain. This is their country. They speak, Dutch, German. So it's a struggle. I speak English, and I do have another language, Yoruba, that I speak. It's a tribe in Nigeria, it's a language in Nigeria, but I don't speak German, right? And I'm not really good with languages. So having to communicate on the economy, like if you want to order food, bro, let me tell you, or sis, when I try to order food, it's a struggle. I know how many times people have hung up the call on me. You always have to be like, do you speak English? English, please. English, please. Pcsing English. It's so hard. Or if you go to the supermarket or just anywhere, and keep in mind, like, all the road instructions are in German, so you don't really understand what's going on. I'm so confused 100% of the time. It's so frustrating, to be honest. That is such, just wanting to communicate, and the person wants to give you the instruction, they want to help you out, but they can't speak English. You can't speak German. So I'm speaking English, hoping that the Lord God will just speak it in our minds to understand each other, but everybody's just confused, and it's such a hassle, man. I can't count how many times I have gotten lost, or my order had been gotten wrong, or just been hung up because they just don't understand me, and they're not willing to just deal with me and my language problem. So yeah, language is a huge problem. The third thing is that Germany, I don't know, I think maybe I need to learn the history of this, but everything is closed on Sundays. Absolutely everything. The supermarkets, the bars, everything is closed. Sunday is like a rest day for Germans. So yeah, Sundays are really dry, and they close really early. I don't know if it's because of COVID, that's why they close early, but I know that even pre-COVID, everything is closed on Sundays. Supermarkets are closed. So if you want to do your shopping, you do it on Saturday, the end. And that can be very frustrating, because you just want to pop into their supermarket and get something. The malls are closed. Absolutely everything is closed, and it's so frustrating. It is, it really is. So think about that. Consider that. The next thing is that things are so expensive. Things are really expensive. Like, you go out, and of course you're spending euro, and euro is higher than the dollars. So you have to think about the conversion rate, the exchange rate, right? You're spending, things are expensive. Like, I'm a perfume person, so we go to the mall to go buy perfumes, and like the perfumes that you will find at the malls are like almost twice the price of how much it is back in the States. Like everything is expensive. It is an expensive place, especially for how much we get paid and the exchange rate. Things are expensive. You have the opportunity to shop on the PX or the commissary or the shopette, but those are just 3 places. I mean, people have more needs and stuff like that. You know, you want to buy clothes somewhere else, you know. So yeah, it is expensive, man. I don't know how people are I don't know how we're surviving over here. It's expensive. It is expensive. Next thing, bro, don't let me get started on gas. Gas is so expensive. I drive a Honda Civic. In the States, I used to fill my car up with like $22. Fill it up, like my car is on red. I fill it up with $22. There was one time I filled up my gas for $100. $100. I almost shed a tear. Okay, so listen, you get like the army subsidizes it for us. You can get an ESSO card and that will kind of reduce the price. But if you decide to drive somewhere like for the holiday or on a weekend and there's no ESSO gas station, you have to buy gas on the economy. And it is so expensive, man. Oh God. There was one time, I guess my ESSO card, there was something wrong with it. I think I had changed my car registration or whatever. And I forgot to get a new ESSO card for that license plate. And I went to get gas at the gas station on post. And the guy was like, well, your ESSO card doesn't fit your license plate, so you have to pay regular price. Before, like if I'd used my ESSO card, it would probably be like $50. But without my ESSO card, it was like $90-something. So even with your ESSO card, it's still expensive. $50 on gas is expensive, especially for someone like me that has to drive 45, like a long like mile. Even for someone like me that has to drive a long way to work every day, I buy gas at least twice a week. So I'm spending a pretty penny on gas. Well, I'm stationed in Calabac, right? I don't know if it's different in other places, like other bases, because there's Graf and there's Rheinstein and there's other places in the Bavaria area and in Germany, other posts. But where I am, I think E7s and below, I have to live on posts. We have to live on posts, and the houses are apartment-like, so you're just like layered on top of each other. It is a little bit ghetto, to be honest, compared to the standard of living back in the States, right, where you get your own house and stuff like that, and you have a really good space. Here it's not a good space. They give you houses based on how many kids you have. So some people have like just 2 bedrooms and stuff like that, and the houses are not, and the apartments are not that big. So even if like you're a staff sergeant, you're like, oh, I'm so happy I'm a staff sergeant, now I can live off post. No, you can't live off post, you live on post, compared to back in the States where even sergeants and staff sergeants can live off post and get their BAH and BAS. Here there's no BAHs, nothing like that. And especially for dual military people, like I remember me and my husband back in the States, we both used to get BAH. Of course, somebody would get lesser if they're, you know, the lesser rank, I believe. But here we get no BAH, so of course we're receiving less money. I swear, for this one fact, if I'd known this, I probably would not have PCS to Germany, because receiving dual BAH was clutch. You know, it just helped with everything. You know, it made us more comfortable. But here, because we live on post, none of us get BAH. Little things by themselves, like individual things, might not seem like a big deal, but together they make life less comfortable for everybody. So listen, because we're stationed in Germany, we use the APO-AE, right? So there are a lot of things that you can ship to the APO-AE addresses. There are a lot of companies that don't recognize APO-AE. I tried to get a birthday present for my husband from Tom Ford. They don't ship to APO-AEs. My friend tried to send me a gift from Etsy and the person did not ship to APO-AE. So the APO-AE address, right? So we always have to like send it to our friend in the US, then the friend will send it to us. It's just a big hassle. Like some things on Amazon that we want to buy, it might be too big, or it doesn't, just like if I want to get a perfume from Amazon, that never happens. They can't send it all the way here. So it's kind of frustrating. The timeline of getting your mail is a long time. Like usually if you have Amazon Prime, your package will get to you 2 to 3 days. We're usually waiting like a week, 2 weeks to get our package, even with Amazon Prime. And if you order from like a normal website, maybe H&M, Sephora, something, it takes a long time. Maybe the longest time I waited for a package was like 2 months. It's just crazy. Like those little things, like, you know, you buy something just to make yourself feel better, or somebody wants to send you something, and it just takes that long for stuff to get here. You know, this might seem like first world problems, but it is, you know, this is just stuff that we take as normal when we're back in the station back in the States. But so it is, you know, it is substantial, it is important, you know. Anyways, then one thing that I think dual military people, soldiers, should consider is the family care plan. So when we got stationed here, I went to school, I went to ALC en route, so my husband got here first, and before we could enroll our child Zion to daycare, we had to have family care plan. And keep in mind, we just got to Germany, we did not know anybody. Like, we did not know anybody, and people are coming up with family care plan. Family care plan in the army is like, okay, for example, if something is wrong with your child, daycare, you're going to the field, who's going to take care of your child? And that's valid. And that's probably something that we should have thought about before we, you know, PCS here. And that's why I'm making this video. So think about family care plan. So we had to rely on our neighbors that we didn't even know. And thank God she was willing to even look after, like, to even give us an option that she was, you know, going to be an option to look after our child. But this is someone that we don't know. This is a stranger that we were practically signing on paper that she would look after our child if we had to go to the field. And we're not even sure if this is something she would want to do at that time. And at this time, this neighbor of ours was pregnant, heavily pregnant, with 2 kids already. She already had 2 kids and she was pregnant with the 3rd one. But she was just an angel that she was willing to do that. And we couldn't enroll him in daycare without this family care plan. And thank God for my job, I hardly ever go to the field. So my husband is always gone, but you know, luckily I get here, I'm here to, you know, I don't go to the field, so I'm, you know, I'm always here after I come back from work. But we do have to have babysitters, you know. It's just a lot, especially if you have a kid. If you don't have a kid, of course, this is not a problem for you, but for dual military that do have kids, it is rough. Especially because back at Fort Sill, we used to go to the field. I was at brigade, so I used to go to the field, but not too much. My husband used to go to the field, but I think here, maybe in a year, maybe he's been gone like 5 months out of the year. They're always sending him to schools, which is a good thing. He's always on the field. He's not around right now. He's going to be gone for like 3 weeks. So they're always on the field. And I know it's part of the army job, and I'm not complaining, but especially when we have no help here, like we don't know anybody, we've not really made connections, like friends like that that we trust to look after our kid, you know. So our family is all the way on another part of the world. So yeah, think about it. You know, if you're married and your spouse is a civilian, that's okay, you know, they never have to go to the field. But for dual military, I cannot stress this enough. Please think about it. You think, oh, you just, you know, your command, but you can't trust your command, because if you have a family care plan and you're unable to like follow through with it, it's a ground to get you out of the army. So think about coming to Germany if you're dual military with a child, or you're planning to have a child. This is so important. Please. Another thing with being stationed in Germany is everything is so much smaller. Of course, because we're another country, it's not, you know, we can't have the facilities that we'll have back in the States. So medical, like stuff, bro, the hospital is always short-staffed over here. It's a smaller base here, so I kind of understand. But still, you know, getting appointments for your child, you know, like most of, like, Zion for dental, my child doesn't get seen on post. It's just a lot of work compared to if you're back in the States. For example, there was a while Zion was sick, and you know, we tried to call the German like emergency stuff. Then the language barrier came up again, and they kept hanging up the call on me, and he had a fever of like 103, and I just kept calling. I was panicking, but we couldn't understand each other, and I was just like, emergency, emergency, and they just didn't understand me, and they kept calling the call. Everything is smaller, the PX is smaller, the shophead is smaller, the post office doesn't deliver to your house, you have to go pick it. You know, it's just a lot. They don't open on weekends. Oh bro, now that I'm talking about it, I'm starting to see myself like, oh, what, you know, I have a feeling that some people tell me to suck it up, or why are you complaining you're in the army? But bro, listen, if my counterparts in the US are living a better life, a better quality of life, I can complain, so leave me alone. So those are all the things that I feel like you should consider before you PCS to Germany. I'm trying to think of if there's any other thing. I'm sure there's more. I had a bunch of stuff ready now. But if you guys are stationed in Germany and you have your own pros and cons, please put it down in the comment section. Let me know if there's anything that I said in the pros that you don't agree with, or you have more, you know, you just want to speak about the greatness of Germany. Please let me know in the comment section. If there's stuff in the cons that you don't think, you know, is a big deal, or that you agree that it's, you know, it pretty makes being here shitty, let me know in the comment section, guys. All right, this is the end of this video. I hope I've been able to convince you to think twice before you choose to PCS. I mean, if you come up on orders and you're coming to Germany, I mean, you really have no choice, but at least you have these things at the back of your mind, so you're not like newly frustrated. And if you're thinking of realistic for Germany, think about it again, think twice about it. And another thing before I go is, I feel like for new soldiers coming to the army, Germany is probably not a good first duty station. Listen to me, let me speak, right? Because I feel like because we're so far away, the standards are a little bit less. Like, I see a lot of like people just doing whatever, like people like privates walking and smoking, sergeants not really, you know, doing their jobs as leaders to correct stuff, to set standards. I don't know, me and my husband talk about this all the time. People get complacent in Germany, and especially for new soldiers, that's their first duty station. They think this is the norm. So when they leave Germany and go to like a proper unit, you know, like Bragg or one of those high-speed units, they're kind of taken aback. And me as a leader, I try to enforce the standards. I try to let these people know that this is not how it's going to be everywhere. It's not going to be always this chilled. You know, sometimes you're going to live in the motor pool. Sometimes you're going to stay behind for a longer time. But for a first duty station, a lot of soldiers, a lot of new soldiers to the army can be misled that the army is a certain way when it's not. And it's not their fault. I think, you know, us as leaders, NCOs, can do a better job at, you know, upholding standards, and, you know, regardless of how relaxed things are, because we're in a different country, you know, with like customs and courtesies. Customs and courtesies. Okay, you know what, never mind, you get what I'm saying. But yeah, that's another thing. Anyways, guys, this video is going to be so long. If you're watching till this time, thank you so much. You're the real MVP. I'll come out with a different video another time when I can get my life together. But until then, stay safe, continue to be great, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.